Hello. Okay, so this is my 26-week pregnancy sort of update video in regards to hyperemesis and coping with it. All the way through these little videos I've tried to be as honest as I can, sometimes crying, sometimes not so bad, and it's just to know you guys and you're not on your own, and it's such a struggle every day just to find a bit of motivation. Sometimes your biggest achievement in the day is getting out of bed. I know it's so hard, but this week I thought, rather than just talking about the struggles in general, maybe talk about a few things that have helped, both food wise and tablets, maybe a routine that you guys may have not thought about before, or trying something new. It's just trial and error. So a slight background just to recap: between 6 and 16 weeks I was terrible, really poorly, hospitalised, various other things. Probably should have been in hospital more than I actually was, but who wants to go to hospital? So really and truthfully, I wasn't very good at that. I should have had more help than I actually got, but there you go. So my go-to foods, I thought I'd just do like a little list. Obviously you can try as much food as you possibly can. I mean, anything's better than nothing, but my real go-to all the way through, that have been fairly reliable, I'll do a list. So toast is a massive one. If you can tolerate things like peanut butter, brilliant, because it gives you that bit of protein, fat, energy, which we definitely need when you've got pregnancy sickness like we do. Yeah, white bread is my only bread. I can't stomach wholemeal. I think it's just because it sits a lot heavier in my stomach and takes a lot longer to digest, and more often than not I don't feel very well after I've had brown bread, which I know is healthier and it's probably better for fibre, but hey ho, white trashy bread it is. I've liked blackcurrant jam, and my sister's blackcurrant jam is delicious. Just butter on days where I've not even been able to have anything like jam. And like I said, peanut butter with honey together is really nice. So that's been my toast. I've been able to eat rice pudding. At the very beginning I couldn't really have anything other than toast, but rice pudding was fairly nice because it was easy to eat and it's not that bad to bring back up, because that is something that when you're being as sick as much as hyperemesis sufferers are sick, you find you're thinking about what that's going to be like to come back. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. So rice pudding isn't that bad to bring back up. It's quite kind in comparison to a lot of other foods. Fruit is obviously great to eat if you can. I've been trying to have as many apples as I can, like at least one a day. It's got a bit of fibre, which definitely helps things, keep things a bit more regular, but I'll go through that side of pregnancy in a few minutes. But fruit can be a real pain to bring back up, especially if it's been a couple of hours, simply because it's very acidic to bring back up. Last night, unfortunately, I got a bout of really bad sickness last night, brought up all my tea, but I'd had blueberries a few hours earlier and for some reason they were still in my stomach, and bringing those back was absolutely horrendous. And another point with hyperemesis is sick doesn't just come out of your mouth, it comes out of your nose, if you're lucky, like me. So it's excruciating if it's acidic, absolutely excruciating, to the point where I couldn't breathe for ages afterwards, even though I tried to clear my nose and things like that. It's horrible, it's really gross. But anyway, fruit is good obviously for your body and your nutrition, but it's not always the greatest to come back. But that's just something, maybe a gamble you'd have to try. Another go-to for me has been popcorn, which is great because you can just keep snacking on that. So it's really easy to have a bag next to you wherever you sat all day or whatever you're doing, and just keep picking at that. Salted popcorn's been my favourite, but I like the sweet and salted together as well. That's quite nice if you can get your hands on that. I recommend trying that if you've not. It's just very bland but really easy to eat. I've had the odd few weeks where I could tolerate sort of crackers with like a Philadelphia sort of cheese, Can't really hack cheddar and things like that anymore, parmesan and stuff like that. On the odd day I've managed to eat that a bit, but I love cheese normally. I'm an absolute cheese fiend before I was pregnant, but during pregnancy I think it's just a bit too strong. And again, bringing cheese back up is really, really gross. And more recently, I've been able to have soups. So trying to get a little bit more liquid. Obviously soups have got water in, and also a little bit of nutrition, so trying to get some veg into my system. So I've had Heinz tomato soup, which I know isn't the best for you, but it was easy for my husband to prepare when I was back at home. I'm sort of living part-time at home with my husband and part-time up here in Sedbergh with my mum. That's why there's a different background today, which has been really tough. But my mum, she's self-employed, so she can come home at lunch times, and she's a bit of a bully, but it's just what I need. She makes me, because she had hyperemesis with me and my sister, she knows exactly what I'm going through, and she's the person I need to be around to be able to eat more food. So my husband understands totally why I need a week on and a week off to try and get some nutrition in me. But he's been doing soups for me because it's easy to have in like a flask next to the sofa, so I can just pour it into a bowl. I don't even have to get up if I can't. But bringing that back up through your nose is really, really gross. But it's okay going down. My mum has been making me parsnip and apple soup, which is really nice if you've never tried it. Again, just a bit of veg, a bit of fruit, trying to get some nutrition in. Excuse me. And she made a homemade rice pudding yesterday, it's delicious. Actually really tasty, so I'm going to have a little bowl of that as like an afternoon snack if I can. Like those little tiny ramekin dishes, I'm sort of eating portion sizes like that all throughout the day of little bits of food, little bits of soup, rather than meals, because meals are really overfacing. So my last thing that I've been able to tolerate has been fish fingers and waffles, because it's really bland, it's very dry, and there's not really a lot to it. So 1 waffle, 2 fish fingers, plenty salt. If you can tolerate sauces, great, try them, but I haven't really been able to tolerate much in the way of tomato ketchup and mayonnaise and stuff, so I just kept mine really, really plain. But again, you're getting a bit of fish, which is always good, or a fish cake and a waffle if you can have fish cakes. I've gone off meat big time pregnant. I've gone off food, but meat is something I'm struggling to process. I've managed the occasional bit of chicken, but anything else is a definite no for me on the meat front. So that's a little bit about a few foods that have helped me. But like I said, toast, I don't know what I'd have done without bread. So if any of those things you've not tried before and you're looking for something to maybe just mix it up a bit, maybe give them a go and see how you go with them. In regards to medications, I've tried a couple. I was unmedicated for a while until I was hospitalised at 12 weeks, and then I was on an IV and some anti-sickness meds via fluids as well. But then after I was discharged from hospital, they gave me, I was in overnight, and they gave me cyclazine and ondansetron to take home and repeat every month, get a new prescription. I tried cyclazine first, and then they said, and if you get really, really bad bouts, take them both together. But cyclazine had a bit of a weird effect on me. It made my face feel like my face was swelling up. I got really jumpy legs, which is horrible, like restless legs. If you've ever had that, it's really weird. It's a very strange feeling. You've just got like no control over your legs at all. They're just jumping around and really restless. It's horrible. And also I went quite peculiar, like really dizzy. But I carried on with it for a while, and then I thought I'm going to have to try this ondansetron. So I thought what I'm going to do is actually just cut cyclazine out, because it was making me feel quite lousy and really, really tired. And I'm going to just try this ondansetron. So I'm on a lower dose. I'm on 4 milligrams 3 times a day. You can have 8 milligrams 3 times a day. But there's a reason why I'm sticking to the lower dose and probably sacrificing the sickness part of it a bit. I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm on that 3 times a day, and that has definitely helped. So when I started ondansetron, it was probably into week 14. And I did notice quite a big difference in the amount of times I was being sick a day. So that has definitely helped me stay out of hospital, because I've been able to keep a bit more food down, which is obviously a bonus. So yeah, I'm having that 3 times a day, 4 milligrams, and I'm still on that now, and I'm 26 weeks tomorrow. It doesn't get rid of the nausea for me. I still feel really sick most days, and I'm still being sick, like I was sick last night on it as well. So it isn't a cure, but it has definitely helped. One thing I've been able to do is monitor my own ketone levels, because when you go to your midwife, if you're in ketosis, it's really bad for when you're pregnant, because it's your body sort of eating up its own fat reserves, and it's not good for you or your unborn child. So that is a usual trigger to get you in hospital if you've got ketonia, I think they call it. So what I do is I monitor it at home, and it gives you obviously a chart on the back of these. The darker the purple, the more ketones you've got in your urine, and the worse that is. So I don't even look at the chart anymore. I can tell if it's pink, it's sort of somewhere in between, and if it's dark purple, I'm in big trouble. But this sort of psychologically prepares me for the fact that either I might have to go back in hospital, or I'm going to do my damnedest to eat and drink as much as I can. And yes, it might come up, but if some of it stays in, all the better for it. So it's sort of, it gives me a bit of a kick up the bum to try and eat as much as I can, and I think because of that I've managed to stay out of hospital as a general rule. So if you've not bought any of these, it might be worth trying, because you just don't know until you start testing. You don't realise just how quickly your ketones can rise, but they do go down quite quickly if you can manage to keep some food. So I've been doing that since about week 13, 14, I think. Yeah, so that's just something that I've been trying. Ondansetron, the reason why I'm on a lower dose is because one of the lovely side effects of ondansetron is constipation, and it can be really severe. So the more you take of that, the slower your system is, and the worse that is. So in order for me to sort of have almost like a balance between the two, I take a lower dose, and I don't plan on taking a higher dose. I have really struggled with being bunged up on numerous occasions. I'm not saying every week I'm terrible, but I have been really bad. So that is just a bit of a warning. I have suppositories in my bag at all times, because you just never know, and it's excruciating when you're constipated. And I can't take lactulose, the liquid lactulose. It's hot. It's so sickly sweet, and I cannot. It just makes me throw up. So it's pointless. I got a huge bottle of it, and I think I've had about 2 teaspoons. So that's not been great. But I have been having a half dose of Senokot tablets, which I know it says don't have when you're pregnant, but my pharmacist said if you have a very, very low dose of it, and it's just every now and again when you're struggling, she said you should be okay. So yeah, that's helped me. Senokot and suppositories are always very useful to have around if you're like me and struggling in that department. But the stronger your dose of ondansetron, the worse that will be. So I try and have as much fibre as I can on days where I can eat, and I try not to have more than 4 milligrams of ondansetron 3 times a day in order to keep things moving about. Yeah, so that's I just thought I'd do a little video on a couple of things that have helped me. When I'm up with my mum here in Sedbergh, things are a little bit easier because she comes home, and it's with it being Mental Health Awareness Day yesterday as well, I thought actually this is really fitting, because it's not only a physical battle, you're battling mentally with yourself every single day to try and stay as positive as you can, because as you've seen from previous videos, some days it absolutely kicks your ass. You just can't function. Getting out of bed is your biggest achievement, and you need a pat on the back for that. If you manage to shower every other day, you're doing really well, because I'm averaging 1 every 4 days, and I really can't be arsed, and I don't even care what I look like anymore. So you're not alone in this, and it's okay to not be okay. But just try, on the days where you're feeling a little bit better, try and think as positively as you can. Think on those really bad days, I am getting slightly better days in between. If you're like me, and the later on in my pregnancy, that I'm getting about 2 okay-ish days a week, and I really look forward to those. Today is one of those days where I've been able to eat a little bit of food, which is great. So yeah, I'm 26 weeks pregnant tomorrow. He's moving around loads, which is really nice to feel. It just reassures you that he's okay, because the last thing you want to do is be going through this and then worrying that your baby's not fine as well. That is something you could really do without. So I'm very pleased he's moving around. I need to book my whooping cough and flu vaccine at some point, but I hate injections anyway, but that's something I need to do, and I need to book my midwife appointment, my 28-week midwife appointment at some point. So yeah, I hope you're all okay, and I hope maybe some of these tips might be useful to somebody, and I'll try and upload another video next week, hopefully, fingers crossed. I can start to have a few more better days, but watch this space. Anyway, see you later, guys.